Hey, what's up,
Okay,
man?
brother. Now, Levi Loblack is in our company straight from Canada. I'm here in Guadeloupe doing that interview for a radio station in Guadeloupe and plus Dominica. So, Mr. Levi, we at Radio Bamago, we know you, or in Dominica, we have been, you have been a very active person in music even before you migrated to Canada, to North America. You have been a calypsonian, a musician. You have entertained your fans at a high level in the late 60s, early 70s, mid 70s, and continually doing the same thing wherever you are. But the news has arrived in our newsroom at Radio Bamagon here, saying that you are doing something in collaboration with two famous Guadeloupean musicians, and this is the main guy behind Casa, which is Jacob Desvarieux, and also Luc Leandry, who is the king of Zouk Béton. You yourself has been an entertainer of a high level. Let us just talk a little about how that really came into being, you having the opportunity to work closely with these two French guys.
Well, let's just put it. Okay, go on, go ahead.
Okay, but as I said that you worked with recently with Jacob and Luc Leandry, Jacob of Cassav, and the question is, how did it happen? How we know that you have been doing your thing by yourself. You are in Canada, you and your wife and your group Levitation. You have been doing and trying out your best, but now you are working with two gigantic musical figures from the Caribbean, and you have released a lovely track, which of course I know that we'll be having the privilege to play during the course of the interview with you. So please tell us, how did it happen to see you having the possibility working with Jacob and Luc Leandry?
I gotta tell you honestly, the truth is about it is there's a friend of mine in New York for the past time called Burnham Stowe and his wife Mona John Charles. They have been putting on functions in New York for a long with Zouk. Well, because we are Creole lovers, Zouk, Compa, Kadasipso and stuff, they have been promoting Creole music throughout the region of the United States, and my wife and myself have been promoting Creole music in Canada, in that region. As you know, we had the radio station Experience Creole, which you were giving tremendous support to my wife in the early stages, if you remember. So we had our own band called Levitation. We had done 2-3 albums. We had already collaborated with Tony Chanson on one of our songs from our album that he was doing on the Polo Maya record for World of Zouk, and he reproduced one of our main songs from our album, which went to #1 in Canada and nominated on the Black Awards in Toronto in Canada, before people really even know what Zouk or Compa or in Toronto itself, not Montreal. Montreal have it long before everybody else, but in Toronto, which is the most difficult area of Canada to be able to bring Creole music at the time, so that set a standard for me to be able to have my communications in the States with Burnham, and Burnham and his wife Mona was planning to have something of that sort for a while. So they went on a venture to start to bring artists like Luc Leandry with other people into the States. So when he planned that big one that they had in New Jersey for his birthday party and his wife's anniversary, he said to me that he wanted me, particularly the function, and perform so that I could serenade them. It had nothing to do with Creole music, with me singing Creole music, but I chose to sing something Creole because Patrick Setilwa is my biggest Zouk lover when it comes for ballads of Zouk. You understand?
Yeah.
So when it comes for ballad, when it comes for love Zouk, Patrick was and that is the closest thing to Lionel Richie, to serenade somebody on a birthday or an anniversary. But most of the times you'd serenade somebody on a Lionel Richie or North American music. Lionel Richie, Luther Vandross, you know what I mean? So I try to break the rule, break the trend, the old tradition, and sing something from Patrick Setilwa. You understand? A love Zouk, a soul Zouk, or something like that. But then after I performed, I think what happened, we were living in the same hotel together at the time. So Luc and Jacob, they saw me perform, and I think maybe they took interest. Let's put it this way, they took interest, because that's how it all started. And Luc was the main man. Luc was the main man that started telling me that he does stuff with Jacob, particularly when Luc is doing his thing on the road. He normally drag Jacob Jacob with him now and then, wherever you go. Like if somebody called him to perform in England, he would say, hey, Jacob, sa cafe no, vini pi moi, manually from Bagaila, if they call, and that's how it works. You know, they have a relationship. Besides Kassav situation, the individual, that's an individual relationship, like two good friends, like Chubby and me. By the way, I just want to shout out Chubby and them tonight, there, my brothers. Same thing. Like if Chubby would call me and tell me, hey, super, sa cafe no, I'm Groovers Casual in Toronto, you know, that kind of concept. Love. It's out of love.
Wonderful.
You know what I'm saying?
Wonderful. So, how long since this single has arrived on the musical market?
Well, what happened is after we did the concert in New Jersey, we spoke about it. A couple months passed, and then he told me that he need to talk with Jacob on a level so that we can get things right. Because you know, in this business, you have to make sure that the business is under control, not just doing it, but make sure everybody is protected on a level and everything's okay on a level. Because Kassav, you're talking about Jacob of Kassav. You're not talking about any ordinary person. So everything have to be working on a level that we all have our thing in the bag, and which all of us had our thing organized. So Luque said to me, as soon as they get back, he's going to send the material to me, and also he want me to send my material to him too, because it's not just one-sided. Because after he had been listening to Levitation stuff, he said to me that, man, if you really had a producer, these songs could even go further than where they went. And then I start to say, wow, that's amazing. So I went down to my studio and I start to, try some stuff for them. I try some stuff, and I send it back to Luque, and Luque will produce it and let Jacob hear what's going on for Jacob to put his part, organize. And one thing mix up and things just happen, and that is the song you are in there right now.
So, you know what we're going to do? We are going to take a little, a fraction of a second to just listen to something from the song as we have cued you to hear, and our listeners will be extremely happy to hear from KAKITO. And
yes, dancehall mazouk.
Yes,
something sweet and new.
Something sweet and nice, and I'm sure they will like it. Let us go. I'm telling you, Levi, this one is going to really have an impact on the airwaves, especially on radio when I go on IFM here. And I'm telling you that when I listened to your interview on the New York internet radio station, I was so impressed to listen to the tune. I said, let me get in touch with you to have an interview with you, and that interview shall be aired immediately, pretty soon on both of our stations. And I can tell you, KAKITO is
I'm not
a banzawa.
Can...
What we are doing now is talking a little about you. It took these two French guys to come and assist you to collaborate with you. Why didn't you collaborate with many of our famous musicians from Dominica in the past yourself?
Well, the truth is I've been asking these guys, all of them, all the big heavyweights of Dominica, I've been asking them. They have turned me down. Some of them have turned me down. Some of them, I think what happened is these heavyweights from Dominica, they didn't see the bigger picture. I think during the 80s, the 70s, late 70s, late 70s to the 90s, they didn't really see, I don't think they really had a plan for Dominica and the music that they created, because you see, the thing is, generations come and generations go, and the music come and it changes as the generation changes. And You have to make allowances for the change of the music. In other words, you have to educate the young generation for you to have longevity. In other words, if you don't collaborate with the young generation, like you are not the catalyst, you want to educate the nation, the young generation, about where to take the music, when the music falling apart, if something is going wrong, so that we are the soldiers to hold on the thought, to pass on the baton to us in the future. But they never did that. And I waited for a very, very long time. I never see that coming. I was kind of disappointed and break down. I tend to give up already and go into something else because I'm a versatile singer. I can sing any kind of style of music. But I waited because I love Creole music. And then here comes the heavyweight of Zouk music, and they give me the chance.
So how do you see the future collaborating, the continuation of that first step with Jacob and Luc Leandry? What do you see?
Oh, I already mentioned a lot. You see, that is what I'm trying to tell you. I've already mentioned they work with me in Toronto, in Dominica, and throughout the New York and the region, England, and so that I have at the back of my head that to be able to be doing a lot of stuff in the future, as long as the opportunities still exist with Luc Leandry and Jacob and Kassav. Because after what happened to Kassav was a very visionary band. As you can tell, they went in, they used the traditional music of Guadeloupe and Martinique, all rhythms of Guadeloupe and Martinique, and they produced every cat and dog in the corner of Martinique and Guadeloupe and France that kept them alive today. And that was a smart thing, because that's a very intelligent thing. And I think that is the way our so-called heavyweights of Calypso, Dominica music went wrong. They never collaborated with anybody as such. You know what I'm saying? In the late stage there, maybe one or two of them try something, blah, 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 because of the festival, but they never really take it at heart to say that they would produce the real top artists, young top artists coming like myself and others that have been there waiting on them to make the move, because he can't make the move. They are the ones that created the beat. They are the ones that have international connection. They are the ones who know the big people in the French market. So we are just there waiting on them. So I waited for years. It never came. Here, I don't want to make the same mistakes that make with the other generation coming. So I'm now preparing the young generation with that new style I call Dansol, which is Zouk, dancehall, Kadas, everything else that's Creole into it, that the young people will be able to for a while now, because you can tell dancehall is a big thing in every dance, anywhere you go in the world. Dancehall music is a big thing out there, in calypso, in groovy soca, in hip hop, the Americans taking it. So because it's just black people music, it's just African music. Nobody owns those kind of rhythms. That's just rhythms, black them. So you just have to just collaborate with people to keep it going. You understand what I'm saying?
But let me ask you, Levi, we have noticed in the early or the late 60s, there you had Rocksteady Ska and you had Spooch, and then you had the Calypso, which was already in the base there. But the Ska and Rocksteady and the Spooch, they were around the same level. But when the reggae came in, the Spooch disappeared. And now we have a similar thing that existed in the 70s. When the Zouk came in, the Calypso disappeared. But one thing that we noticed, the Zouk came in, but the compa did not disappear. What would you
Well, not
believe?
what I've known of. I've heard some individual already said to me, when I sent my music for them to produce, I was expecting them to help me to produce my music, which they asked to produce me, and they told me Zouk was dead. And I go, what? What do you mean by that? So that's what they claim, Zouk was dead. So you'd have to ask, we would have to ask them those kind of questions in the future. Zouk never dead. Zouk never dead. That's Creole music. Creole music cannot die. When you something like that, you're destroying Creole music.
But why the Calypso has disappeared completely from the market?
Okay, the truth about that whole thing about Calypso, if anyone have to really talk about what really gone on in Calypso, we're going to take it from the bands. We in Dominica had almost 250 bands in Dominica. Undoubtedly. So many bands, all of them had a different style of music, from Bells Combo. Even when Swinging Stars, when it came with Swinging Stars, I started composing Calypso for Swinging Stars. Swinging Stars had their own style of Calypso. Every band, you see, Calypso was a beat that was allowing every individual band to have its own style, genre, every style of Calypso. It was unique. You listen to Buzz Combo, was a different style. You listen to Midnight Rovers, was a different style. You listen to Black Machines, it was a different style. You listen to all the different bands, even from going down to way down to Naked Fit to do Calypso too. They all, Black Blood, all these little bands had a sound. So the people that created Calypso, if they were visionaries, it wasn't so selfish and self-centered and egoistic, and I think that was the problem, and everybody was afraid to say that to them because we love them so much. I personally admire most of the people in Calypso. Never really did anything for the artists. They never did anything for me. They never did anything for the rest of the other young generation that was coming out to be able to keep the dream, keep the Calypso dream alive. Because you are the catalyst. If you are the one create the rhythm, you're supposed to be the catalyst when things going wrong to go on radio and television, which each of the other ones that were there, like for instance, example, Gordon Henderson was the manager of radio undoubtedly after Hurricane David when OJ was interim prime minister. Ophelia Bachimari was chief cultural officer. Jeff was the ambassador. They were in position to make things turn around. They did. And it's a selfish attitude that happened with them. They have to take responsibility for Calypso not being where it was supposed to be, because if they had the vision, they would have collaborated. All young, dynamic artists like myself, Ratmo, Hurricane, Calypsonians, the young ones like, what's that young boy, that gentleman that performed in Grand Bay all the time in Calypso, he used to be in a young group, Chaddy Bell, I think it's Chaddy Bell, one of the Chaddy Bell brother, the Henderson youngster, all these guys.
Elf.
Yes,
Cyril
all these guys, talented, and we have been waiting on them. They have been the anything. Listen, it's breaking my heart to say that. I don't want to get at anybody because,
Levi, would you think...
continue talking about it in that way.
Would you think, Levi, if you're listening to me, would you think that the population of Dominica was also responsible for not supporting the groups in terms of purchasing albums?
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's a total...
No, I'm just asking because when the Zouk came in, the population in Martinique and Guadeloupe is almost 1 million people. And then they decided to give support to what is theirs. So the market for the Zouk could have sustained the Zouk. But while we did not have a base of consumption, when the French left us and went to their very own, would you believe that could have been one of the reasons for
that's not totally true. That's not my brother. That's not totally true. This is views that these guys have used. That's the same thing Donald Trump is doing with Mark Clinton. These kind of people, what they do, they fabricate stories and try to make you them. Yes, Dominica didn't have population, and I'll say it again. Yes, population has a lot to do with sales and marketing of music. But when you put in with other people, what I'm saying is you have to go outside the box. In other words, Barbados have musicians, Antigua have musicians, singers and stuff. Great Trinidad have look at an example is Lord Shorty. He did with APT. You see my point?
Yes,
my point is, if these guys were visionaries, they would have collaborated even American singers and convinced them that Calypso is the way to go, because we had GQ, a Dominican band that had established in this. We had so many other artists that were other. Jeff was already doing things with Kool and the Gang. Try to remember that when he started doing things, Kool and the Gang.
Yeah.
You understand? Kool have done, but the thing is, you alone cannot do it. Donald Trump said he alone can solve the you alone cannot do that.
That's true.
The big free of Dominica couldn't do that. You have to get the young generation on board with you. Why the music take the trend, the young generation take the trend and never pick at that.
Yeah, I can understand that point. So,
so
how do you see the future
really
of this
want to pick at
Levi?
Pardon me?
Yeah. How do you see the future of your musical career?
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay. How do you see the future of this single on the musical market in North America? I know the beats it is sounding like something new. In spite of it has some of the traditional beats surrounding it, but yet still it's a new creation.
Honestly, the truth is, this is just the first track. And what I've always said since the young bands start taking over the replacement of Calypso in Dominica, all the other Bouillon bands, long time before they started, I started saying to Dominican musicians, and I was saying to even the Calypso heavyweights, where they should go with Calypso, because nobody wants to say it to the young generation, and I knew I had the remedy for Calypso success to come back where it was supposed to be, because Dominica have Jinping, Bel Air, Hilan Topoka, Mazouk, La Pokabuit, all kind of healthy, just like Guadeloupe Matic that have begin, Rampa, all this kind of stuff. We have what it takes to use the different rhythms, but then again, if you're not educating, you're not creating the beat and the sound for the people, not educating the youth on what to do. Education is important for music, educating the young generation. The young generation will just go and take whatever the television, radio, and newspaper and put in their face. You understand what I'm saying? Because let's just say if Dominica was very conscious like Guadeloupe and Martinique in culture, if we were very like every time workshops, symposiums, things, different musicians coming all over the world of the French Caribbean to have workshops with the school, like Convent High School, the Grand Bay Secondary School, the Port Secondary School, the Vekas Community School. It's something that government and the musicians, all the big guns of Calypso were involved in. Now, Calypso would have the different genres of Calypso. It would have dancehall Calypso, hip-hop Calypso, R&B Calypso. You understand? Ballad Calypso. But you see what I'm talking about, my brother?
But Levi, I can see your point. This is a grander vision. But how do you see now? We know that CASAV and many of the other groups were assisted by Conseil Regional and Conseil General. This is the local government institutions here in both Martinique and Guadeloupe. But we have the ministry in Dominica, which is called the Ministry of Culture. What would you want to say to that ministry? You know, I think the Ministry of Culture would be responsible of music as well.
The truth is that when the heads of the music start getting involved in politics, you have a problem. When you start getting involved with politics, you have a problem.
But what I'm saying is not politics, but I'm saying the institutions, the ministries. There are different ministries in government. You have the health, you have the tourism, you have the economic, you have the state, you have the everything, and you have the culture. Would you believe the Ministry of Culture also should be blamed for not seeing Calypso during the days?
No, you can't blame them. You can't blame none of the establishments. You see, if I create a painting, okay, and I'm the owner of a painting, it's me that have to market it and make the people in my country believe in me. You know, like you are the one that responsible to bring your product out to the world, not just people doesn't just hand up like that. You know,
I agree.
That's a
but
thing
what I'm saying
Dominicans have had.
What I'm saying is double L is, you know, all over the world you have ministries that are responsible for different portfolios. You have those for fishing, where they will protect the waters of the land. You have those for whatever other things that you can think about. And you will see in France, occasionally there are some cultural events that enables musicians to eat and to enable them to be as creative and to appear. You see in France, every other year there is an emergence of new sets of professional musicians on the market. And these people are given...
You must ask yourself, why did they see that? Because they make notice. The people make them notice them. What I'm saying is you have to make the government notice you. In other words, you have to build like a union. It's like how Emmanuel Christopher Loblack, when it was bad with the workers in those days. Emmanuel Christopher Loblack went and he rallied the people and made the people join and make the government allies to England and made the Queen and everybody else notice that there were conditions in Dominica that needed to change. These guys that were in charge music had to come and rally every young generation musician and band and get them to understand that we need to come together to go to the government and let government see. You see, the stronger we work together is the stronger the government would kneel before us. But these guys never really did that. These guys things for themselves. When they have a problem with copyright, want people to join them for their personal own. It was everything they do was for their personal use, for all musicians. When you want to do everything for all artists and all musicians, you have symposium. You educate the generation. You go on radio. You sacrifice your career then. You sacrifice your popularity. You say, you know what? Maybe I'm the Jesus Christ, the one that has to be nailed on the cross. And set the people free, the young generation, and educate them so that the next generation that comes, the government will have no choice. The government will realize that in the budget speech, there will be $7.5 million for culture. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. So are you saying no?
You see,
that
you cannot blame the cultural division. These guys, you see, like for instance, I was listening to Jamaica recently. Igbo had a work on television, on online television, and on television in Jamaica, and students, international students, university students, on the business part of music, Jamaica, and where Jamaica music supposed to go and stuff. And Igbo of Third World was educating the generation to let them realize that what they go for the government in the early stages, their goal is to educate the young generation, make the government its role, so that you will always have a Bob Marley statue for a Bob Marley person that has done tremendously well for Jamaica. In other words, it's not Bob Marley alone you will see as a statue in the future. You will see plenty of Bob Marleys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can understand that. So what are you saying? What are you saying should be done now, as we speak, to enable our Dominican music? Because we had the jump pop, we used to call it. Now they call it bouillon. It was very extremely popular in Guadeloupe, and all of a sudden it disappeared. You know, because there was no representation, no official. It was just like a spontaneous thing. It came and it just disappeared.
You have blame Guadeloupe and Martinique people. These are people besides Grand Bay and Woodford Hill and the north of Portsmouth and Nicabe and La Plaine, the wake of La Plaine, and this is the hardcore Creole people that speak Creole. Besides these people from Dominica that speak Creole, Guadeloupe and Martinique that speak every day.
Yeah.
You see the difference? But Dominicans have to be more conscious with Creole. They have to be more conscious. It's not when a stranger tell them, "Oh, I have been to Dominica and I can speak Creole too." You know, that's when they jump in.
Yeah.
Or if they hear a stranger tell them, "Oh, I know this and I know this, Montois Piton, and I know this and I know that," that's when they know Montois Piton. But they're not treated as Dominicans to make sure that they can speak Creole. They can explain to a stranger in Creole the different places on some item or some cooking item. Because look, I can say it boldly, I can't blame the young generation. They name their music bouillon. It's not me. We know that bouillon is.
Yeah.
So analogies in bouillon and coup-bouillon. Okay? I'm a from the Central Dictionary, the
Levi.
And how you go in those areas, that you will know that we did what we did and we call it bouillon. So a while,
Levi,
just fed up with it.
The quality of our recording is depreciating, so we'll have to come to a conclusion here, and then we'll have to make a follow-up on the interview, which is a very interesting one. But our buffering cuts down. Your voice sometimes comes in, comes out, and it has been doing that for a few minutes now. So what we will do, we'll follow up on a more conducive moment when when the internet service is more appropriate and gives us a better quality of audio signal.
You want to try tomorrow?
Yes, we can try tomorrow, but I think we'll have to try to do it in the afternoon, because in the night now, many people are using the computers, so it is fluctuating.
I'm going to buy a time card.
Yes.
And I'm going to call you direct line. I think the direct line will be much better.
No, but what happened in the system we will talk about that later.
Okay, no problem. So you're going to call me tomorrow or tonight?
I will call you in a meanwhile.
Okay, in a meanwhile. Okay, no problem.
Let
Okay,
me
great.
just say to you, while your voice is coming out a little clearer now, you can go over and bigging up some people who are listening to us, and let's try to make it quick.
So you want me to, what want me to do now?
I mean, you can say you can big up some people. I mean.
Oh yeah, I just want to big up my wife. Yes, for all the years in exposing Dominica music, exposing Dominica internationally. DJ had an experienced Creole, a branch of from Dominica, like to help Dominican and Creole people, so that when the Prime Minister comes to Canada, he has a platform, a platform where he could speak at the time. With years of radio and live radio in Toronto, my wife and myself and a couple other. I want to pick up again Novelist. Novelist is another Dominican artist that does bouillon music in a different style that working with us, and we just try to hold Dominica on the outside here in Toronto. I want to shout out my partner himself, Mr. Luc Leandry, for performing with them on stage, and looking forward for bigger things, because these guys are visionaries. I have to be visionary. Every day they see things bigger, new things all the time. I want to big up Chubby and the Midnight Groovers listening for helping us to be on air in Canada. Radio Bagaman relating, actually relaying experience every time. I forget that.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
thanks.
So these are people.
Thank you very much.
Yes, my brother.
Okay, then take care. This was Brother Levi Loblack. We were talking to live from Canada, and he just released a single which in collaboration with Luc Leandry and Jacob Desvarieux of the big gigantic Zouk group Kassav, and it's called KAKITO, and you will be listening to it in a meanwhile. So stay with us, and then we'll have to continue this interview with Brother Levi in the near future. I want to thank everybody for listening, and it was a pleasure having you on board. Thanks, Brother Levi.